Welcome to this edition of the Optimum Life Wellness Chat. My name is Carol Cummings. I'll be your host today. I'm joined by Stephanie Peregrine. Hello, Stephanie. Stephanie is an occupational therapist here with Brookdale, and we're going to be talking about understanding and improving urinary incontinence. Now, urinary incontinence is not something that maybe we like to talk about too much, right, Stephanie?
Correct.
But there are a lot of people who deal with this,
Yes.
and we want people to feel comfortable that not only are they not alone, but there are lots of things that can be done to help manage and treat urinary incontinence.
Correct. In fact, almost 25 million Americans every year deal with urinary incontinence. So what is urinary incontinence?
What is it? Yeah, tell us.
Many times people don't realize, but it's simply an involuntary loss of bladder control, the inability to hold the bladder or inability to hold the liquid that's in your bladder, and involuntary leakage. So sometimes even when you go to the restroom or afterwards, when you're sitting there, just leakage that's coming out.
So are there different kinds of urinary incontinence?
So that's a great question. There, in fact, are a number of different types of incontinence, and the types kind of range from a pediatric type all the way up to the elderly. Some of the most common, and we hear a lot about, is the stress incontinence or urge incontinence. And that stress incontinence is very often when we're doing daily activities, when we're just walking or exercising, coughing, sneezing.
Oh, yeah, laughing.
Yes.
Sometimes we can have a little urine escape.
Yeah.
Especially women. It's more common in women, right?
It is. We also have that urge incontinence where we see the commercials for that on TV with that overactive bladder and
That
the
run.
gotta go. Yeah, the gotta go.
Yeah.
So there's a quite a variety of different types of incontinence that happen. Though we often talk about it and how it affects women, there's also types that affect men. Overflow incontinence is a big one with men. More so with them because of their prostate and prostate enlargement causing that. So.
Yeah, or overactive. A lot of men just have frequency, right?
Yes.
Because of the
urgency
prostate.
of going.
Urgency to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the more common types. There are also types that come with neurological disorders.
You do.
Like Parkinson's or
you
MS.
You can see the urge incontinence with the Parkinson's patients. When you have a lot of nerve involvement, you can go to the extreme with the incontinence and see what's referred to as total incontinence. And this is when you have absolutely no control of your bladder, the nerves aren't working, you have no recognition that you have to go, that your bladder's filling, that you have those muscle spasms. So we have that on one spectrum, and then we have this functional incontinence on the other, which is when the urinary system is working just fine, but it's something in your environment.
Circumstantial.
Yeah.
Can't get up to get to the bathroom, that sort of thing.
Different environment. You're in the hospital, so you can't get out of the bed.
Yeah.
You're staying in a hotel overnight or at a family member's house. You don't know where it is. You can't get there. So.
Yeah. So let's talk about these more common ones. Urge incontinence and stress incontinence. I know that there are lots of things that can be done. In fact, you're an occupational therapist. Excuse me. And some people may wonder, well, why would an occupational therapist be talking about incontinence?
Yes, well, that's a good question. So an occupational therapist or a physical therapist really does have a great involvement when it comes to urinary incontinence. So we look at the individual as a whole. So part of being a whole is the urinary tract. So what can we do to help? So our goal is to make life easier. So making sure that they can get up from their chair to go to the bathroom, making sure that you can adjust your clothes.
In time.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you do have an accident, can you take your pants off, your brief off to change them? But more importantly than that, an occupational or physical therapist can actually work to set up a management improvement plan when it comes to urinary incontinence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. What's a management improvement plan involved?
So what we look at is, first we look at a bladder diary. So what time of day is someone going to the bathroom? How often? What are they eating and drinking? How is
Okay.
this affecting them? Are they having accidents in between? What activities are they doing?
So you just want to get an idea of what's happening here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we look at that and we look and we say, well, do we need to set up a retraining program? So do we need to look at, first of all, the food or the liquid intake? So are they drinking later in the day, higher amounts later in the day? That maybe just changing that could help. Are they eating a diet that's rich in caffeinated or stimulant foods, such as caffeinated beverages, artificial sweeteners? Chocolate, of course, is a stimulant, as much as we don't want to admit it.
So those will make incontinence worse?
It potentially can, because it starts to stimulate your bladder. It makes you want to go more. So we kind of look at that. And citrus, both the fruit and the juices, can also irritate the bladder.
Okay.
So looking at what time of day your intake of these liquids are, and then when you have to go to the bathroom.
So the bladder diary can help with all of that.
All
What
of
did
that.
you eat? And then we get a picture here. Okay, so after we do the bladder diary, then what happens?
Then we look at a bladder retraining. So trying to get your body to rethink how it goes. So a big one is if you have that urge, oftentimes it's not that you have anything left in your bladder, but you just have that feeling. So setting up a schedule. Do you need to go every hour? And then do we need to increase to every hour and a half? We'll go every 2 hours. So we kind of go back and we look at it. How do you train a child to go to the bathroom? You have them sit there when they go. And then, after they eat a meal, they go and they sit until they go. And so you're kind of doing the same thing to some extent as an adult. Every 2 hours, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And your brain and your bladder start working together then to say, hey, this is how I should go.
Okay.
So, and then after we finish that retraining, we look at the diary, we look at how the retraining is going, and then we look at what exercises can help. And of course, everybody's heard Kegel exercises. You've heard them.
I have heard them, but tell us a little bit about how to do a Kegel exercise.
So a Kegel exercise actually has 4 steps to it. So these are the muscles to the pelvic floor. So very often when you're doing them, many think it's your glutes or your butt contracting, but it's not. It's actually your muscles in front. If you're holding onto your very low abdominals, kind of right in that groin area, you can even feel it. But you want to contract, you want to hold it, you want to slowly release it, and then you want to repeat it.
So you're contracting as if you're trying to stop the flow of urine.
Correct.
That's muscles, right, that people want to isolate.
Yes, those
if you were going to try to stop your urine flow, that's the Kegel exercise.
Yes. So a good way to try this and see if you're able to do the Kegel exercises, if those muscles are weak or where you are with that, is when you go to the bathroom, try to stop the flow. Now, this is something that should be done once a month only, because even though you're working those exercises, trying to stop the flow of urine is actually contraindicated while you're actually going to the bathroom.
It's just a way to understand what those muscles
are and feeling that. So when you're going to the bathroom and you are urinating, try to stop that flow. Those muscles that you feel right then and there, those are the muscles you're going to feel when you do the Kegel exercises.
Okay.
And you can actually do 2 different types of Kegel exercises. You can do a short contraction or a long contraction. So the short contraction, you're going to contract and hold it slowly going in, and then hold it for about 10 seconds and release it slowly and repeat it. And then the faster ones, or the short contraction, that was a long contraction, I'm sorry. This is a short contraction. You're just going to kind of squeeze, hold, and release. Squeeze, hold, and release.
Okay. And how many times a day should people? We should all be doing those, shouldn't we?
We should. These are really easy to do while you're at your desk at work, while you're in the car at a stoplight, while you're eating dinner. There's no specific, of course, like any exercises, the more you do it, the more consistency. I would say on average at least about 5 times a day.
Just remember through the day.
Yeah, about
to do
10
that.
sets of holding, or 10 reps of holding and releasing and that contraction.
All right. So the most important thing we want to leave people with is don't keep quiet if you're dealing with this, right?
No, talk to your doctor. There's help.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's ways to make it better.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Stephanie.
Well,
and
thank you,
hope
Carol.
you've enjoyed this wellness chat, and we will see you for the next one. You can visit us at brookdale.com for more information.